attacked us on 9/11. Does that make any sense at all? American tax dollars should never be spent to prop up a war on Christianity. But that's what's happening now across the globe. As Christians, we should take a stand and fight against any of your tax dollars funding any persecution of Christians. In Zanzibar, a tiny little island off the coast of Africa.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there and stuff, but you can actually go out to that. Just go out to the Blaze. They actually link to it, to the speech, but it goes on for another 19 minutes. But yes, we as Christians are under attack. We're not only under attack in the world, there's no doubt about it. We're attacked here in our country. You know, when the president can pass a law that negates your religious belief on birth and abortion, you know, and forces you to adhere to an atheistic style of life or lifestyle. When we have a president, like I said, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I really don't. I can care less. But when you have a president or you have a Congress or a government who normalizes that behavior, I mean, I got problems with it. Like I said, I can care less. You know, it's really none of my business. But the reality of it is when it's crammed down my throat, when it's forced upon my children to go to school, there's no reason. Math, science, you know, we have enough. You know, a report that came out last week clearly said that America's falling behind. Our intelligence, the dumbing down of America is taking hold, as requested by Agenda 21. You guys don't know what that is. We're going to be talking about that next week. But this is all a systematic plan to unravel the American consciousness and the American dream. They are publicly destroying our country. They are taking root. So, you know, not only are we under attack by foreign entities for being Christians, we're under attack in our own country. You know, and like I said, I'm not out prophesizing, not knocking on doors. I live my life. I do what I'm supposed to do, you know, and I move on. But why should I be attacked? You know, and you got to ask yourself that, because it's a plan. And, you know, look, the government doesn't do it because, you know, they're just doing it. It's part of a plan. It's a master plan. You know, what was the first thing that Stalin did when he took over Russia? Took over religion, controlled it. What's the first thing that Germany did? You know, you didn't belong to our religious, you know, our religion, part of that, you know, the ideal man, you know, you were executed. What's going on in China? You know, these leaders know that religion is their biggest opposition to their actions. They know that. So what do they have to do? They have to take it away. Because without religion, without a sense or a moral compass, we're ships without a rudder. And without a rudder, you can be moved in any, you know, as the wind blows. And that's what you see in America today. You see us ebb and flow with what's going on classic TV. Like I said, you can probably go out to America right now, any American, and ask them about baseball, ask them about football, ask them about all of those things that really don't matter, and they'll give you all the stats. Ask them who their children's teacher's name is. Ask them who their senator or their congressman is. They probably know now because it's all over the news. You know, ask them those questions. The things that really mean a lot. Ask them those. And I bet you they can't tell you. And the reason why they can't tell you is because they're a ship without a rudder. They're being blown all over the place. And the problem is what the biggest problem that I see, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I don't care, post it on Facebook, let me know. The biggest problem with this country, we have lost our rudder. We have lost our moral compass. We no longer do things because it's morally right. We do things because it's legally right. We are in more fear of a country, as individuals, of being sued than being judged. And when I mean judged, that means judged by our Creator. Think about that, how messed up that is. We as a country, we as individuals, we make decisions in our business practices, in our personal lives, in our family life about the litigation side of it. We no longer ask ourselves, is this right or is this wrong from a moral standpoint? Now, granted, I'm no angel. Hey, that's another song that we had for you guys that don't know. That's why I played it, because I'm no angel. I make mistakes. But I have a hard time sleeping at night when I do. Now, unfortunately, there's individuals out there that make mistakes and they don't care. As long as they have the Maserati or as long as they have whatever, they're making the money, they got the big house and stuff. They don't care. We've lost our rudder, people. We are being blown like a ship without a rudder, and as the tides ebb and flow, we just kind of go with it as a culture. That's what's wrong with us. And it's evident. You have an administration who would not honor our soldiers. That's a travesty. That right there to me is impeachable. That's impeachable right there. When you take an oath as a commander-in-chief, we have a lot of military listeners out there that listen to our show. One of the things that they drill in our military is, and one of the things, believe it or not, that our enemy knows is that we tell our, no man left behind, man or woman, but no soldier left behind. That is a belief that is carried from the time you hit the deck there at boot till the time you retire, and then onwards after life. No man left behind, no soldier left behind. Look what our administration did. This is the commander-in-chief. This is the boss, the big boss. Left them behind. Left their families. When their families needed this country the most to rise up and come together. Now, granted, this country did rise up and did come together. Private individuals, private organizations donated to the family, but most of the families refused those donations because they wanted it to go to other families. Now that's a family that has a rudder, that has a moral compass. But think about it. Our leaders they don't have the moral compass to do what's right by our soldiers. Those are the things that upset me. Those are the things that should upset you. Forget about all the chicanery. They say go to, if you want to see sausage being made, or you don't want to see sausage being made, but you like sausage, don't go to a sausage factory because it's a dirty, grimy process. That's politics. You don't want to see the inner workings of what goes on in the house. It's a dirty, grimy, backstabbing business. I think we all know that. But the reality of it is, when you dishonor our troops and our soldiers, that has nothing to do with making sausage or the political process. That has everything to do with that you have lost as leaders your moral compass. You are a ship that is ready to sink. And I tell you, we're going to help you. I think the American people are waking up. I think that's what happened with Congress. I think that's why they're caving to the demands, because America is starting to wake up. Now on the news today, they were, everybody's waiting for the 1,000 truckers. And all I heard on the news today, well, where's 1,000 truckers? You know, they don't get it. They don't get it. You know, if most of us didn't have to feed our families and everything, you know, we would have been right there with them. If you have one protester and what they were protesting, if you have one protester protesting what these individuals stood up for, that's one too many. Think about it. They were protesting the fact that our country's gotten away from the Constitution of the United States. They were trying to bring us back to our moral compass, trying to right the ship. You know, one person. And I don't think, you know, a lot of people don't understand American history. 15%, American Revolution, 15% of the American population was against the King of England. They rose up, signed their name to the Declaration of Independence, basically their death warrant. 15%. It's not a whole lot of people when you think about how many were here at the time. I don't know the numbers, but, you know, put it in the Googler. You know, 15%. 15% defeated the King of England, built this great country, wrote our laws. You know? And one of the things, too, is that, you know, I do want to clear, because, you know, I am a study of American history. You know, the political atmosphere back then was as treacherous as it is today. The name calling, politics is a dirty business. No matter what era it happens. It's a very dirty business. Even back then. The problem today versus back then, is that people back then had the moral compass. They were also articulate enough to understand what was going on. They were at the ground level, because the laws that were passed at the time affected them directly. You know, there's a lot of Shays Rebellion. There's a lot of rebellions going on, you know, President Washington after the revolution that he had to do, because people didn't have a problem taking up arms against the country if they didn't believe it was acting on its best behavior. And so, but they had a moral compass. So they were able to judge. That's the difference between the rhetoric that went on now and the rhetoric that went on then. People were intelligent enough and were understanding enough, had that moral compass, and they were able to pick and choose logically. Now, we're like spoiled children. I want this, and if I don't get it, I'm going to hold my breath until I get it. You know, that's what goes on. So, but that's enough of that. I do want to end this week. You know, Ted Cruz obviously was coming under a lot of fire for a lot of his, obviously for his stand. He's the one that they kind of threw under the bus. You know, said this was all his. But I want to end the week with this, or end the week, begin the next week. This is class. This is class. Now, as you saw this week, there's a lot of name calling, doing a lot. But there's a lot of, one thing I realized. I've never seen so much disrespect for individuals as I've seen what went on in Congress this week. There was a lot of name calling. It was coming from one side of the aisle publicly. I was watching C-SPAN, a lot of name calling. We're not name calling, but there was a lot of disrespect. Well, there was name calling and stuff. There was a call by a Congress, to declare martial law. Are you kidding me? Declare martial law because you don't get your way. Hold your breath a little bit longer. Maybe you'll pass out and do the country a big favor, But the reality of it is that's what went on. So here's Ted Cruz. He was actually at the same event today as Senator Rand Paul. He was just a little bit earlier, but this is Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, as he this is the right way to deal with a heckler.
And yet what we saw across this country. Ma'am, thank you for being here. I wish you would participate in the democratic process through speaking respectfully. It seems that President Obama's paid political operatives are out in force today.